Morning, everybody! Or whatever time it is. I'm Bart Winkler, Tobi Altizer, Tim Shea. This is the Bart Winkler Show in whatever form this is. And honestly, I don't know, because it's a podcast. And so we want to do a podcast. We just want to talk, right? So we want to do a podcast. So the Blue Wire Network, Blue Wire, has been gracious enough to take our audio, and they're doing all the dirty work. Because I don't know how to get this on Apple. I don't know how to get this on Spotify. This might be on YouTube. If it is, cool. I don't know. I'm so bad at all this stuff. I've been trying to set up, I've been ready to talk for a month, but I've been trying to set up a podcast for a month. You know, when everybody was at home for COVID and everybody's like, had their own studio and ring lights. I was like, I'll never need that. I got a radio studio. Well, now we don't. So now I'm trying to figure it out. And the best microphone I could find is the one that comes with my iPhone. I spent like $200 on microphones and they all make my audio worse. So that's what we're doing. This, I want to be very clear. This is a hobby. This is not my job. This is not a new gig for me. We are doing this as a hobby. If people want to throw money at us, I mean, thank you. I do have my tip jar open at Winks Thinks. That's to pay these boys. But I need a real job. So I'm very clear. This is like a new thing we're doing. Tim's here, Tobi's here, I'm here. We are all in need of work. Okay. And as long as I 10% want to be proud of what I do. I 90% want my wife to check our bank account on Fridays, every other, and say, okay, you get to stay here. So with that being said, thank you to Blue Wire. Thank you to you guys that are listening. Tobi Altizer is the only person here whose team is 1-0, and that's right. What we want to talk about today, the Redskins or whatever they are, and the Jaguars. But we will talk Packers, Vikings. But Tobi, good to see you again, and congrats to you.
I appreciate it. It's good to talk to you again, Bart. Good to see you, Timmy. Yeah, I mean, crazy week one, a lot of fun stuff to talk about, and it feels better after a win, but I mean, we're going to talk Packers, obviously, and it's not as fun after a loss.
Well, I just think this was one of the greatest weeks that we've had in terms of a week one, and I had the Bengals as my survivor, so I was super into that game.
Oof.
And they had 20 chances to win and then obviously didn't. And so when the Packer game started, I was still watching everything that happened in week one, and I had tweeted something like, oh man, this is the best week we've had in 40 years. And then some guy goes, well, how are you sure that it's any better than any? This was a great week. This was a great week on Sunday. Sunday afternoon was great, minus the Packers. Sunday night, bad, I guess. Monday's game was ridiculous. This was an excellent week, and we're just desperate to talk about it. And the other thing is, we're jumping on here and doing this because for whatever reason, and thank you, but it seems like people want to hear from us. Now, I hope that's not just something they say, and then this podcast gets 3 downloads, me twice and my mom once. So I hope that this actually gets to people. But you guys have been so great, and we just want to have an outlet to talk about the games. So 17 minutes into this podcast, we'll finally talk about the game. Shea, your boy Aaron Rodgers didn't look that good, buddy.
No, he didn't. 2 years in a row now, too. Don't like that at all. Maybe he should have played in the preseason.
Yeah, I was going to say, probably should have played in the preseason for you there, Timmy.
Oh, yeah, you guys had that little wager, didn't you?
So I still owe you, but we'll find a time for that. But
no, I don't think it's a preseason thing. I think for me, I don't know.
Execution kind of thing.
At first, watching Sunday, I didn't think that Rodgers was – I would put him a little lower on the chart of whose fault it was watching on Sunday. Obviously, the offensive line has issues, that first drop pass, and then they quit after that. We'll talk about that. The defense, I've been bragging to you guys about how good this defense is going to be. They were awful, and their execution and scheme was awful. But then looking back at some of the clips, shout out Peter Bukowski, check out his work, Locked On Packers. There were a lot of plays where Rodgers kind of did what he did at the end of that game against the Niners, where he didn't make the right call. And it wasn't as bad as, hey, Lazard's open in the middle, I'm going to go to Devontae, who's double covered. I was watching some of these plays where there's 2-3 guys open. If Rodgers stays on him for another second, he's got the pass, but instead he's throwing in the flat to A.J. Dillon. Fine. but there's 3 guys ready to tackle A.J. Dillon. So earlier in the week, I didn't think it was much Rodgers. This week, as the week goes on, I see that maybe it was a little more Rodgers. I don't know what it is. I can't overreact too much because of what happened last year. They lost 38-3 to the Saints. We all freaked out. They ripped off, 7 in a row or something? So I don't want to overreact too much. But if they lose to the Bears, I think we're at an inflection point, Toby. I think you look at, they beat the Bears. Okay. Well, let's see what happens in week 3. If they lose at the Bears, I think you can right away mark right now, this is going to be a bad season.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, the guy that deserves the most blame because it consistently happens when he's been the coach is Matt LaFleur. Week 1, they don't come out prepared. The playoffs, they don't come out prepared. And why is it that these college teams can come out without playing a preseason and look sharp week 1? We talk about this all the time as an excuse for NFL teams coming out week 1. Oh, they didn't play their guys in the preseason, so they're going to look a little rusty. And I understand there's going to be some rust, but for them to come out and look the way they did on both sides of the ball, defense, I thought the game plan was poor. I don't understand how at some point you just don't throw Jair Alexander on Justin Jefferson and just say, we'll figure everything else out. They didn't do that. And then on the offensive side of the ball, I don't know what to think of it because Aaron Jones got 8 touches. Why is he only touching the ball 8 times? That dude is supposed to be the focal point of the offense. Aaron Rodgers looked a little bit gun shy, looked a little bit hesitant there in the pocket, and rightfully so, because the Vikings were getting pressure all game long. So I think overall, like you said, there's not a whole lot to overreact about. I think they'll come out on Sunday Night Football and get the win against the Bears, and they'll be 1-1, and going from there, you'll be fine. But another poor performance in week 1, a extended layoff. They come out and there's just various situations where Matt LaFleur just doesn't seem to get his guys prepared. And week 1 is one of them. And that's got to stop.
Okay. So for sure, LaFleur is a big part of this. And I do want to get back to the Aaron Rodgers part of it. With Matt LaFleur, Tim, it just seems like every time that they lose, or when they lose big. Playoff losses have been like this. The Saints lost last year. Again, they go down early. As soon as Christian Watson didn't drop or didn't catch the ball, we're like, oh man, rookie. But I go back to what Robert Tunyon said on one of those podcasts in a van or whatever they do. He was like, when we get knocked, we stink and we're done. And I don't know why that is. And that's so I felt like the game was over then. And because I felt like the Packers felt that. And it turned out to be true.
It happened after play 1, too. You got a pissy Aaron Rodgers. He was not happy after that. And if he's not happy and he plays mad and disgruntled, they're not going to win. And he counted them out from after that play. So he can say, oh, the wide receivers will learn and we got to be better and this and that. But you could tell right from the beginning, he was in no mood for that. So,
but when I look at some of those plays again, and I agree with you, and then when I look at some of these plays, he just was too quick again. He was too, before we said Aaron Rodgers hangs onto the ball too long. And then this time I thought he could have hung onto the ball a little bit more. I'm talking a split second. I'm talking look at one more guy. Because there were times when he looks at Watson or Doubs right away, they're covered. They haven't made their break yet. And maybe he would have expected Devontae to have made that break by then, or maybe he would have trusted Devontae. And so then he goes to the guy in the flat who's covered. If he waits just a split second longer, you might have Tunyon, or you might have Cobb, or you might have Doubs, or you might have Watson, or you might have one of these other guys. Watson had that one target. Then I don't think he was targeted again until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
So I'm just, what we're trying to figure out here, and I think what a lot of Packer fans are trying to figure out is, why did that happen? Will it happen again? And if it does, what does that mean?
Well, I think it comes back to the comfort level in the pocket. Yeah. I think what happens is he gets a little bit gun shy because you get some pressure on him early on. And, Aaron Rodgers is as experienced a quarterback as anyone, but it's week 1. So he's coming out. He hasn't played in the preseason like we talked about. So there is a little bit of, hesitation in the pocket just because of it being so early. And then you get pressure on him early. And I know he's experienced, but even if you got pressure on a guy like Tom Brady or someone like that in a week 1 where they haven't played, if you start getting pressure, you get guys around their feet early, they're going to get the ball out quick. And so I think not having Jenkins and Bakhtiari was a huge part of the reason that Aaron Rodgers was maybe getting the ball out a little bit early, missing some of these guys. I think they'll be able to fix it. I think Rodgers is going to go back and watch the tape and realize maybe he had a split second longer than he did, but we also can't act like the line wasn't a problem. I think going forward, they're going to be able to fix things, and hopefully Jenkins and Bakhtiari can get back soon. I don't know that they'll play the Bears game, but if they can get back relatively soon, hopefully week 3, I think that'll fix some things. But I mean, we saw the problems manifest themselves in week 1. We talked about which one's the bigger issue, the receivers or the offensive line. And the reality is both of them were a problem.
What's going to happen first? Bakhtiari plays a game, or a girl wakes up in the morning and leaves Tim Shea's apartment. Sammy right away.
That happened this morning, okay?
Oh, what? Cleaning lady fall asleep, pass out to the toxins. You know what I did on Monday? It's good to be talking Packers with you guys. Because on Monday I woke up and my kid goes to daycare. And so we always wake up and watch, right now it's Paw Patrol. And so we watch that, and then I fall back asleep, or I lay in bed, my wife takes him. But it was like 7:30, and I was like, I'd be knee deep in Packers talk right now. And this was on Monday. So I went back to bed and didn't wake up till like 11:30. And I came downstairs. My wife works from home. And I said, I really wish you weren't here. She's like, what? I go, no, because I don't have a job. And you know how when you're unemployed, you like, you know, I don't like that someone's witnessing that.
Yeah.
So that was a problem. So I will say that day was hard. And then the day after Labor Day, because then we have a bunch of seasonal listeners, and they're like, where the hell are you guys? Da, 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 da. Here's this great article about me. And then we went on from there. Tim, I know that you probably.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, Tim, did you ever have an article written about you?
No, I didn't.
Because
Toby did.
You did?
Yeah. I gave some take about sportscasters getting paid too much money, and then apparently they took it to heart.
I'm writing an article about Tim.
You are?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. What are you writing about?
I'm writing about how the Brewers fan relations have gone
since I left.
Since you left.
You know, my old job's open.
Well, there you go. Go back.
Would you go back?
I don't know if they'd let me.
Why not? Because you trashed him on the air all summer?
Someone made me trash him every day.
Well, that's good. Then you know all the ways to get back in.
Ways to fix it, right?
Yeah. They're selling pretzel sticks as hot dogs. You say, hey, don't do that.
Lower the price of a bottle of water.
On Wednesday. 5th row.
Oh, nice.
I got free tickets.
I might have to go. If Aaron Judge is going for the record at Miller Park this weekend,
yeah.
I might have to check that out.
He's 4 away?
4 away from tying.
And then the Brewers can sell the dirt that Aaron Judge
there it is.
stood on.
They should do him a favor.
Fans.
I don't know well, I guess he's on the IL, but I was going to say they should do him a favor and pitch Eric Lauer. That dude gives up home runs all the time.
I really do think that they went golfing and X-Golf and got hurt. Because they all have strains.
Yeah, it's true. I might have to check out X-Golf.
I don't even root for him anymore. Now that I'm off the air. I set DraftKings lineups for the other team, and then I get pissed. Like last night, Montgomery got 2 nights ago.
Yeah, it used to be a nightly thing to watch the Brewers. Now I'm just watching Peaky Blinders.
Peaky Blinders? I'm watching
it's pretty good.
She-Hulk?
No.
All right. Bakhtiari, though. We're doing this so that people can hear sports talk again, and then now I'm gonna be super self-conscious about that, because my whole thing was you should talk sports on sports, but you do need a little bit of fun, right?
Yeah.
But I think where some other people are looking, it's like all fun and no sports.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you want to, I don't know. I feel like there is a void since all of us dudes are off the air, because we probably talk more sports than anybody. And you can do your show however you want. I'm not starting a podcast to burn bridges everywhere.
Yeah.
those bridges have all been burned.
I was gonna say you already did that.
Yeah. What bridge is left to burn?
Yeah, just let's build some bridges.
I need an infrastructure bill so that I can rebuild all the bridges in this town.
Make Bart great again.
Make me great again. I built Pfizer with my bare hands. But I just want to, again, I want to give an outlet. And that's one of the other things I wanted to mention is one of the things that people miss the most about the show is not us talking, but them getting the chance to talk.
Yeah.
So that is something that I'm looking to incorporate as well. Again, I am so, I couldn't be dumber at this. I couldn't have less understanding of how any of this works. And it's really so when we have to do a remodeling project around the house, I can't do it. I have to fix my gutters. I'm like, I don't know how. My wife said, go to Home Depot and get new gutters and I'm like, I don't know how. But at least with radio stuff, I'm like, well, that's my terrain. I don't know how to do any of this. I'm surprised I got this set up. The three of us in one room, honestly. Because I thought I was going to have us go to Tim's house. I didn't know what the hell I'm doing.
No, you don't want to do that.
No, God, no.
No, not with all the ladies coming and going.
David Bakhtiari. Let me talk about him again. Is he ever going to play again? Now, we might know more by the time our voices are in the mainstream, but I think that the problem for me was, well, there's a bunch of them, but this last week was they made it seem like he was going to play.
Yeah.
That we're not the ones saying, give us an answer. And that's what I hate about when teams do this. We're not the ones saying, is he going to play? Yes or no? Tell us 100%. They're the ones that said, yeah, he's expecting to play. Box coming out and say, I'm expecting to play. They're taking him off the PUP list. And then they're going as far as saying, yeah, he's going to play. Are you trying to trick the Vikings? Because hey, you thought we were going to be good and now we're bad. That's not a trick. Let's help. So I am worried about Bakhtiari's future. It's been too long. Last summer, he said something about how it's not even the ACL anymore. It's other stuff. So even if he does play, I don't know that he's going to play well, Tobi. So I'm really concerned about him. And if they don't have Bakhtiari, I think they'll get Jenkins back sooner rather than later. But it's like the Bakhtiari's showing them why they did not pay Lang, Bulaga, Sitton, etc.
Yeah, I really don't understand what they're doing in this situation because, like you said, we're not necessarily out there banging on the door trying to figure out what's happening with Bakhtiari. I think a lot of us have just assumed he'd come back mid-season, if at all. And now they're coming out saying, oh, he might play week 1. Oh, we'll get him off the PUP list. Oh, he might suit up against the Vikings. And next thing you know, he doesn't suit up. So it's like we're going all through last year again. And you would have thought that after what happened last season, they wouldn't go through this whole process again. And yet here we are. I think he does get back out on the field, but the question now becomes he can get back out on the field, whether it's week 2, week 3, week 4, whatever. Can he play the next week? Can he play the week after that? I mean, this is now a 17-game regular season. You're going to want him for the playoffs. Can he play that load? Is he going to be able to play 10 straight weeks with no break in between? And that's the real question for me. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him early in this season, but is it something where we see him suit up week 3, takes week 4 off, plays week 5, plays week 6, takes off week 7? Like, at that point, I want some consistency on this offensive line. I want David Bakhtiari to be 100% that once I put him out there, I don't have to move him ever again. And I don't know that we're going to get that.
Timmy, how you feel?
I was more concerned with Elton Jenkins than Bakhtiari. I had a feeling if Bakhtiari doesn't play till week 4, week 5, then why even bring him off the list at that
I agree
point?
on that.
Because
this is what happened last year too. We thought he was going to play in week 8. Did we fabricate that? Remember, everyone thought he's playing against the Chiefs. Did we do that, or did they do that? Just if he would just, what it feels like? It feels like David Bakhtiari, is Bobby Bonilla, where he retired. They're giving him money. Last year, when he played against the Lions, that was my dream of when you sign a one-day contract, you actually come back and play. That's what he did. And that I blame for Rodgers. I thought I remember hearing that Rodgers really wanted him to play. So that I blame for Rodgers. Sunday, I blamed Rodgers 0. The longer this week goes on, the more I blame him. Because remember against the playoffs, in the playoffs, there was that article that came out where he knew that someone was going to write about him and he called
Yeah.
him and talked to him for 30 minutes?
Mhm.
Yep.
Why are podcasts with Bill Maher dropping on game day? Why have you talked to everyone? Like, are you on Barstool's payroll? Do you have to do all their podcasts? So I don't know. I don't know that playing in the preseason, one drive in the preseason matters. I don't know that it does. It does seem like he puts his foot in the water, and it takes a little while for him to get back to that MVP stature. And I don't know. I'm not saying he can't go on vacation. I'm not saying he can't do a podcast. I'm not saying he can't do McAfee. I'd love him to do this show. Tim, wanna
I'll
on
get
that
him.
for me?
I'll get him.
Tobi,
Yeah, I'll text Aaron.
me, someone. Just put a little stool on the bottom corner and we'll have him in no time.
Yeah, there we go.
So I don't want to be like off-season guy, but he did not play well. And I don't think it's a matter of, oh, I don't trust my guys. I have patience, but later on I won't. He said something like that. I think if this is going to work without Devontae, it's going to work because he was a two-time MVP. And I thought he was a two-time MVP because he was a two-time MVP. I'm worried that some of these plays I rewatched, he would have thrown the pass if it was Devontae, and Devontae, he would have just assumed would have figured it out because he probably would have. So I'm not, yes, we don't have Devontae, and that's maybe the skill level's much worse. But I'm worried now that after 1 week, I'm worried that Rodgers is going to play. Like, not only did you lose the talent, but now the guy that is talented is going to play a lot worse.
Well,
without
real quick,
that guy.
I got a question. Do you think that if they had a tougher week 2 opponent, because they come out Vikings, then you got the Bears, do you think if they had a tougher week 2 opponent that they would have played their guys in the preseason? Because I think they understood that we're not going to play our guys and there's the risk that we lose in Minnesota. And I think they were okay with that risk because they look at Chicago coming to Green Bay and they're going to kick their tails. So they're like, you know what? We'll come out 1-1. We're fine. I think if they were playing a good team like Tampa or LA or something like that, I think they would have considered playing their guys in the preseason. But I think for them, it was a glorified preseason game once again, like what they did with New Orleans last year. I think they said, you know what, we'll do our thing. We'll hope to be a little more prepared. But either way, I don't want to injure any of our guys. We'll come out, we'll play Minnesota.
But why is that okay? Why can we do that?
I don't know why it's okay. And that's why I'm saying I don't get why that's the thing. But I think their thinking is we'll come out week 2, and I would not be surprised if they light it up on offense and the defense looks better. It's obviously a much lesser opponent, but they come out and they played their glorified preseason game against the Vikings, and now they're locked in, and Rodgers is going to go back and watch the tape and be able to figure everything else out. I don't understand why they do this, but that's part of my thinking here is they looked at it and said, all right, 1-1 after 2 weeks in the division, we'll take it.
Should I try calling John and Franklin and get his thoughts?
He'd have some good thoughts on a usual Monday.
Well, because that just seemed like a natural time to take a caller, and then I remembered that we're not taking. I want to set that up again. I'm gonna call him, see if he'll answer. I'll put him on speaker. John in Franklin is in my phone.
That's amazing.
That's awesome.
He's told me his last name 900 times.
Franklin?
John Franklin.
Miss you, buddy.
Hey, John.
How you doing?
Hey, we're recording a podcast, and
Okay.
I'm not used to it without callers, so I thought I'd call you and get a caller's take.
Okay.
So, do you want to what'd you think about Sunday?
So talk to me. So how does this work?
Just you talking the phone. I'm recording you.
Oh, you're going to be live,
Well, this is coming out later, but
but you're recording it. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. What time Sunday?
oh no, I'm doing it right now.
Oh, so you want to take now?
I just want to ask you for 40 seconds about the game.
Okay.
So, what'd
Yep.
you think?
And you're just going to cut this so we don't have to start and say hi and all that bullshit.
Yeah, probably.
All right. So this is my takeaway from the game. Very, very disappointed. This is the arch rival of our division until the Bears prove, or the Lions prove otherwise. And to come out with a half-hearted effort against this team. And I mean, I almost flipped out at halftime when they were talking about maybe the coach is going to give him some light of fire under him. If you don't, as a fan, I had a fire lit under me for this game. I don't know. I can't quite understand it. Dropping the touchdown pass really could have changed the game. I know it's one play, but just psychologically, I think it really it did a lot of different things. Not to mention, we know it's going to affect Rodgers' psyche. It's just how he is. It looks similar to like some of our playoff losses where they're just off a bit. They're just not right. And I know we lost by 17 or whatever, but it could have been a lot closer game. I mean, we got to figure the goal line out. We got Dylan, and we can't score on 4th and 1. I mean, that can't happen. We've got to be better. We got to be better. We're going to be better against the Bears. And I look for this. I kind of wonder why Amari Rodgers I don't know if he was used at all or barely. Very telling about what's going on with this kid not being on the field. I don't know what's going on there, but how is he not on the field for a bunch of plays in that game? 3rd year in the league.
John.
Yeah.
I just called you out of the blue, told you some cockamamie scheme, and you just gave me a great take.
That's what I do, brother.
I'm doing this with Tim Shea and Tobi Altizer.
Okay.
You want to say hi to him?
Hey guys, I miss you. I miss you all. Your former competition. There's a reason why I never once turned the radio, even when you guys were on vacation. This is why. I mean, I got to listen to Zabin, and he's a narcissist, and I got to listen to.
These are his words. I didn't set this up.
His stupid takes.
I did it.
Oh God.
All right, I'm trying to not burn bridges on the new podcast.
Hey, John will burn them for you.
So anyway, is this going to be something like? How does this work? Is this like a subscription thing you're going to turn?
So this should be on Apple Podcast every morning.
OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Not on Apple. What about Android?
No, Apple Podcast or Spotify or all that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got Spotify or whatever. So what's it going to be called? Can you text me the name of it?
Yeah, just the Bart Winkler Show.
Okay. So then, and it's going to go on Sunday.
Well, this one that we're doing right now is going to air Thursday morning.
Which is tomorrow.
Yeah, well, today, according to people listening. Yes.
God. Okay, I got you.
Okay, all right.
I mean, this is obviously us having a talk on the phone right now.
No, this will be on the podcast because it's funny.
Yeah, and I know a number of listeners, so I will get the word out.
Good.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much you guys are missed. I can't even quantify it. And I'm not trying to I am not even lying, dude. My quality of life has deteriorated. I got nowhere to go with my takes. Nobody else takes calls. I'd be more likely to get on the Jim Rome show than I would call in one of these local knuckleheads that think I want to listen to him for 3 hours.
I'm putting all this in the podcast. Are you okay with that?
I love you, man.
That's a yes.
That's a yes.
All right, John, thank you. This is why you were a Bart Colored Standings winner.
I'm there.
All right.
Okay. Take care, buddy.
See you, John.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
I didn't tell him I was going to call him. Yeah, that's pretty clear, right?
Yes.
What a guy. What a guy. Always brings the heat.
Just telling him.
Always
things.
ready to go.
I didn't tell him anything. I didn't say this. This is not me saying it because I said. You guys know if you listened, you know John. Wow. All right. You want to preview the Bears game?
Yeah, what's it a preview? They're going to kill him.